Ladies and gentlemen, before I start this video, let me apologize for having just woken up. And also, I may have to adjust the light settings here and there because it seems the sun is dipping in and out of some clouds in the sky. But outside of that, welcome to our weekly track roundup, where I go over what I felt were the best and worst tracks that I had heard over the course of the week. Before we get into that, I need to mention that down in the description box, we have an Amazon Associates link. Supports the segment. All you need to do is, if you live in the U.S., hit that link. When you go on Amazon, when you buy something, we get kickback from it. Does not add to your overall price. Cool? Cool. All right. Cool. Also, picture shirts on the support page. This is the last week the shirts are going to be on the support page because it's the end of the month. So this, again, last week these shirts are available. So if you like this design, get this shirt now. Ships internationally, unisex sizes. Cool. Me and Cal, iconic. And finally, I have to give a shout out to the sponsor for this video, the app from the good people over at Discogs.com. If you are a nerdy record and music collector like myself, you will most likely be interested in this app. Use it to manage your personal collection or browse Discogs on the go more conveniently. Since you won't have a computer on you, you can just use your phone. Add to your want list or your collection list. Discover new music records that you might not have heard of otherwise. Get into your Discogs inbox, view marketplace pricing, buy and trade, all the great things you can do on Discogs condensed into this super convenient app. If that sounds good to you, then get that shit, dude. Get it. Let's get into the worst tracks of the week. This week was pretty easy on us. We didn't have too many horrible tracks this week. Too many tracks that I couldn't stand. But nonetheless, the first one here is a little disappointing. Was not expecting to dislike this track as much as I did. However, I didn't even anticipate this track was ever going to exist, or this forthcoming project was ever going to exist. But it was announced this week that apparently Ninja Tune, electronic music producer The Bug, is coming through with a full-length album with Earth. Yes, Earth. The stoner rock band, the doom metal band, Dylan Carlson, Earth. And I don't know, this first track was not a fantastic taster, maybe. Sort of the wild, noisy, kind of drony guitar playing style of Dylan Carlson didn't complement the Bug's production all that much. I don't know where exactly the problem lies. Is it Dylan Carlson not playing to the Bug's abilities all that well? Is the Bug not sort of producing or sort of chopping up or editing the guitar playing into his production all that well? I really don't know. There just didn't really seem to be that much chemistry, that much of a meld. I really don't know where to go from here. It just kind of falls flat on its face, despite the fact that I respect both of these artists. I was intrigued when I heard that this was going to happen, but there was just nothing really all that exciting about this track, in my opinion. Hopefully, there's something more exciting from it coming down the pipe, but I have to be honest here, just not really all that thrilled about what I'm hearing on this particular track. Moving on from there, Wale has a new track out titled Fashion Week. It's super corny. It's one of his poppier tracks, and it features G-Eazy. Need I say more? But really, in my opinion, what was the worst track of the week was this amazing new track from the Chainsmokers and Coldplay. Jesus Christ. It's titled something like this. And, what's great about this track is that it allows Coldplay to do what the Chainsmokers do, and it allows the Chainsmokers to do what Coldplay does. Because really at the heart of the Chainsmokers' bland, boring, and lowest common denominator EDM music, what they really want to do is write pop. It's really what they want to do. They really want to be a band. They really want to write pop music. And Coldplay, as evidenced from their past couple of records, they're pretty tired of being a rock band. They're pretty tired of being, even a pop rock band. They'd much rather be writing dance music, electronic music. So this allows them to both kind of, dabble in what the other one is successful in and what the other one really wants to do. But, of course, neither of them do it all that well, so they're kind of just like, coming out with these bad songs together in collaboration. It's a really trashy, really boring pop song. It seems like Chris Martin does his best to dumb down his lyrical abilities as much as possible, just because he knows sort of the audience crossover potential here, and the sort of lyrical tone that Chainsmokers fans are used to. And the thing is, the lyric video of this thing, it's even more shameful because you just read along with the lyrics. You're like, ugh, God, really? Please, Jesus Christ. And most of the song doesn't even really sound like the Chainsmokers had any influence on it up until the point where the dance beat sort of pops in. But, again, there could have been a lyrical influence there too. But I digress. That is probably my least favorite track of the week. Let's get into the songs I was sort of, indifferent toward, but, not really hating. Definitely want to suggest them to you guys. First off, I want to give a shout out to the new Pornographers song, The World is of the Theater. Just a straightforward piece of power pop over here. Nothing really all that special to it by new Pornographer standards. It's kind of sweet, straightforward, catchy, really sharp lead vocals, driving guitars. It's an okay track. Again, nothing all that new or revolutionary about it. Moving on from there, Arca, experimental electronic music producer Arca, who you've probably heard much about over the past few years, has a couple new tracks out. This one titled Anoche that I wanted to put a bit of a spotlight on. But this is not the glitchy, almost undefinable electronic music style that we've heard from him in the past, which is really difficult, really challenging, kind of confusing, very abrasive, very glitchy, very moody, very textured. No, the tracks that he's putting out now are like this really odd, off-putting art pop with, these very light, kind of effeminate vocals, which are kind of chilling. I'm not completely sure what I feel about it, whether I like it or dislike it, but it is pretty strange. It is very bold. It is very in your face. And I am kind of excited to hear how this song and many of the other songs of the songs of this style are going to hear sort of in context on a full-length record. Again, not crazy about it, but intrigued and just wondering how it's all going to sound on the album. This track is pretty strange, especially when you couple the new sound with the music video that he's put together with it. It is, again, a very bold change, a very bold move, a very bold sound. Moving on from there, Jam Baxter for a limited time only. Production from Chemo on this one. Jam Baxter of High Focus fame comes through with one of the more moody singles I've heard him put together. It's not a bad track, not mind-blowing or anything, but, it's not a bad track. Neil Cicierega, if you check out his Twitter account, please put the @ for that up. Thank you. He's put out like 5 different B-sides from his recent Mouth Sounds album, which are pretty decent. I could sort of understand why some of these tracks didn't really make the cut on the album. Some of them don't work quite as well as the songs that were on the record. And this song over here that I'm mentioning, Roxanne.mid, is a wonderful revision of the Police's Roxanne, but with like MIDI instrumentation hanging in the background. It's pretty funny. Moving on from there, Young Thug with the song Safe. I guess in a way you could name this song that because it's one of Thugger's most safe singles that I've heard in a while. There's nothing really all that new or refreshing about it, unfortunately. It seems like after hearing this track, maybe he's going to kind of cool it on the experimentation and the adventurousness that we heard on Jeffrey and, sort of go back to doing what he typically does with his squeaky, sort of kind of wild, yelpy vocals, over trap beats and, have it be kind of aggressive, kind of melodic. It's sort of Thugger by the numbers in a lot of ways on this track. I wasn't really blown away by it or anything. The music video is a little weird, but, whatever. Moving on from there, At the Drive-In with Incurably Innocent. Aside from the fact that the guitar riffs didn't really stand out to me on this track, and the lyrics are slightly cringy. I really didn't have any issue with this song. It's an okay track. Didn't really blow me away as much as the first At the Drive-In track did from their upcoming album. Hopefully the rest of the album is exciting. I really don't know what to say about this track. It's not really all that refreshing. And finally, Calvin Harris, Slide featuring Frank Ocean and Migos. This has been a huge track over the past couple days. I mean, there have been a lot of people. I mean, I came right out on Twitter and I was like, I'm not really that crazy about this song. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's great. But people have been saying, hey, man, you really got to give this another shot. This is a great song. I disagree. I mean, sure, it's not the usual kind of trash that Calvin Harris comes out with, but I think for Frank Ocean, this song is kind of a step back. This sounds like the kind of song he would have put out around Channel Orange. And I know a lot of people love Channel Orange, but to me, what he's doing on Blonde is so much more interesting, so much more progressive, so much more cutting edge. What was happening on Channel Orange was a little blander, a little safer to me. And that kind of seems like with this track, he's going back in that direction. And in my opinion, Migos don't really add anything to the song. You know, maybe if they were rapping instead of trying to do their sing thing and trying to be ultra melodic, try to be sort of on that melodic level of Frank, which you're not going to get there because Frank is a way more capable singer than anybody in Migos. In comparison, if you try to sing on the same track as Frank, you better be a fucking good singer. Nobody in Migos is a good singer. You know, they hold their own on their own albums or when they're singing next to some other trap rapper who can't sing either. But, you know, all the Migos singing on this track just sounds goofy. So, I don't know. It's kind of a bland, forgettable track in my opinion. Not really that great of a single. But let me move into the best tracks of the week, my favorite tracks of the week. Your Old Droog, despite the lack of chemistry between him and Wiki on their last collaborative EP that they came out with, has an amazing song with Wiki and Edan. This new track called Help, which has this kind of industrial, noisy, crazy, off-kilter, boom-bap, grimy New York beat. It sounds brand new, but has that sort of very clear New York roots in it, and both their verses are great. Lots of energy, lots of nastiness to the track that I think is great. Spoon's new single, Can I Sit Next to You, is funky and fun as hell. Maybe not as memorable as their last single, but this one is certainly got a great groove to it, a great beat to it, great energy to it that I like a lot. Moving on from there, Nightbringer with Misrule. If you love kind of that big, over-the-top, very showy, high-gloss production value of like the latest Behemoth album, you know, and you're a black metal fan, then I think you're going to like this song a lot because it's really powerful. It's really heavy. It's really dense. It's really fucking epic. There's, you know, just kind of this great power of Satan sort of flowing through the track. It's actually pretty great. Moving on from there, Shugo Tokumaru with Lita-Ruta. This is a fun little pop song over here that I like a lot, that I highly want to recommend to you guys. It's been a while since I've been crazy for a Polyvinyl Records album, and I'm hoping that that's the case. I'm hoping the rest of this sounds as fun as this track over here. The Mountain Goats have a new track out. Andrew Eldritch is moving back to Leeds. This is sort of an interesting track because on Mountain Goats Bandcamp, because I guess they're coming out with this album via Bandcamp, it says that there are no guitars. There are no guitars on this album, I'm assuming, because it says that on the album page. So we're going to have a completely guitarless Mountain Goats album, which, if I'm correct, I've been listening to the Mountain Goats for a long time, that has not happened. That's not a thing. So we're going to have a whole Mountain Goats album where it kind of sounds like this, where maybe John Darnielle is you know, sort of wrapped up in these elegant string sections, and it sounds very theatrical, very dramatic. And at first, when I was listening to this track, I was not all that into it, but then as I listened more and more, I was like, okay, wait, you know, he sort of has had this very theatrical, dramatic vocal style in the Mountain Goats music. I think it kind of makes sense for them to sort of go in this direction, at least for one album, because for him to be singing over what sounds like maybe a mini pit orchestra or something is again kind of sensible, because that's just kind of his singing style. Like, it could work in that context, and it definitely sounds like it is on this particular track, in my opinion. So I'm pretty interested to see sort of where they bring it from here. And finally, Buke and Gase have a new PJ Harvey cover out. for the song Dress as part of that, 100 days, first 100 days of Trump's presidency project. And it's a pretty good cover. It's a nasty cover. And of course, it being Buke and Gase, they bring, like that extra crunchiness, that textural sort of aggression that you usually get on their albums with them playing the Buke and the Gase. If you don't know who Buke and Gase are, then look them up, because they kind of name their musical duo, their musical project, after their self-made instruments, and it's pretty cool. All right, those are the best and worst tracks of the week that I want to shout out. And again, make sure to hit up that Discogs app, Amazon Associates link last week on t-shirts down there in the description. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. Forever.